Good evening, everybody. I'm about a minute early, so I'm going to wait, make sure some people get in, and that sort of thing. Glad to have everybody. So we're going to talk about barn hunt tonight. I selfishly am creating this video for all the new people that are starting to come in our barn in Shelbyville to do events and that sort of thing with us. Shaylin, Chris, and I sometimes don't have time to share all the rules because we really want to give people as much time on the rats as possible. That's kind of the biggest challenge to barn hunt, is getting access to rats. So we want everybody to get as much access, their dog as much access to rats as possible. So I'm kind of using tonight to go over some rules. That way I can send new people to the video in the group to find some resources and maybe listen to the rules. This does not replace the rule book though. So I still need everybody to look at the rule book. I'm going to give Chris a minute or so to get on because she's going to monitor the group for me, and she's going to put some links in. So it's 7 o'clock, and I'm going to kind of officially start. So again, thank you guys for hopping on here to talk to me a little bit about barn hunt. I also wanted to kind of tell everybody, I have some notes, so you're going to see me look up and look at some notes and stuff. So I just wanted to let you know that's where my eyes are going when I leave the screen. So Shaylin's on, so I know she will be able to monitor any comments. So anything, if I'm saying something and you want to put it in the comments, go ahead and do that. I will look at the comments at the end, but Shaylin and Chris will monitor that stuff too for you guys. And if Chris hasn't already done it, she is going to post in the comments a list of links for all of you guys as resources. Okay, so I want this video to kind of live on in the group. That way you all can reference it when you need it. It will have a list of links. And I'm also, at the end of tonight, I'm going to post all my notes in the comments so you guys can read the notes as well, okay? So, again, welcome. We're going to talk about BHA, Barn Hunt Association type of barn hunt. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. That is the club and the venue that Chris Carlson and I have in Shelbyville, Indiana. We are a BHA approved club. BHA is the only AKC recognized ratting venue, okay? So you can submit your titles to AKC from this venue to be put on your AKC certificate. And some of your breeds may have that as part of your versatility matrix, okay? So let me start by saying I'm Erica Etchison. I own Paws Adrift. And we have a club, the Paws Adrift Swim and Sniff Club, and we run barn hunt events in our Shelbyville, Indiana location. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Not only do we have trials, but we have lessons, workshops, run-throughs, drop-in classes. Shaylin, Chris, and I are doing as much as we can to get Central Indiana as much ratting opportunities as we can. All right. So there'll be more that we put on. Right now, everything feels really quickly. So the first tip I'm going to give you guys is please join our newsletter. Join this group, join the newsletter. The newsletter goes out every Monday at 8 a.m. In that newsletter, that is the first place that we post all of our barn hunt things first. So whether if it's Shaylin holding a class, me holding a workshop, an event, a run through, it will be in the newsletter before it's on social media. So join the newsletter. The stuff will go there first, okay? Shaylin and I may be dropping some things for April. March is kind of done. There's just no more we can do in March. So Shaylin and I are looking at the April schedule now. So hopefully in the next week or two, we will have something up in April for all you guys. Okay, so the list of links. There should be a list of links in the comments. And I've given you the Barn Hunt website. On the website, you can see all the events in our area, whether it's Kentucky, Ohio, us. You can look at all the events in your area, all right? The rules are on that website, and I gave you a direct link to the competitor rules. Again, this is not a replacement. You should also read the rules, okay? I'm going to give you kind of the highlights to get started, but you really should read the rules. The third link is the BHA registration. Your dog has to be registered in BHA for you to be in a trial, okay? So you have to have a BHA number, all right? And then the last thing is our Paws Adrift direct link to our Barn Hunt things. Included on the Barn Hunt page is always a direct link to our Secretariat events. So in Barn Hunt, Chris and I use and a lot of the other clubs as well, we use an online registration system called Secretariat. So there will always be a direct link to Secretariat from our website so that you can register your account and then register for our events, okay? So again, you can look on Barn Hunt to see all the events in your area. On the Paws Adrift page, under events, under Barn Hunt, you can then register for any of our things, including our trials, okay? Right now, we have a March trial, 21st through 23rd in Shelbyville, Indiana. Saturday is 85% full. Friday and Sunday, say more than half. We may be at 60% for those 2 days, okay? So there's still room to go ahead and register for that event if you would like. And some of the information I give you tonight will help you if you're going to a trial for your first time, okay? Okay, so, and don't forget, join our newsletter, all right? Okay, so let's talk about instinct, all right? That's going to be the first thing I'm going to talk about. So, it's an optional class, all right? You do not have to do instinct. A lot of people like to start there just to kind of warm their dogs up if they're new or to kind of see where their dog is at, all right? You can get an instinct title with only one qualifying run, all right? Once you qualify, after that trial, in that day, you can no longer do instinct. So if there are some rules, and you need to read the rules, that you can do it probably again if it's on that same day, but you can't re-sign up for it once you have your instinct title, all right? So once you have it, you kind of have to leave that, and it is optional. There will be a cradle in the ring beyond the novice tunnel, but the only thing your dog has to do is find the rat. They do not have to do anything else. The dog must indicate on the rat, and you must call the rat, and you have 1 minute to do that. That is the only task that you are required to do, okay, for instinct. All right, let's go to novice. You can, for a trial, especially if it's your first trial, and if you don't have your instinct title, you can sign up for instinct and novice in the same trial. And remember, novice A, open A, senior A, those are classes when you have not received a title at that level, all right? So once you've received your novice title, you move from A to B if you'd like to stay in novice, or you would go on to open A, okay? You cannot I believe you cannot do Novice B and Open A, but maybe Shaylin can answer that question in the comments, and I forgot to look that up. I know several people have asked us that, and I think that's a no. The other questions I've been getting a lot, and part of this is just, I'm going to say a little bit of opinion and a little bit of what's the right thing to do. So we have noticed that sometimes when people sign up for trials, they sign up for levels that they're not really in. So for example, they have one more leg in Novice and they want to sign up for Open. Technically, you would still sign up for Novice until you have your Novice title. And then what would happen is when you would get your Novice, your last Novice leg, you would go to the secretary and she would move you up to Open for the following trial. Okay. Signing up for Novice kind of gets you a spot in the trial. And then if you actually get your title, then we would move you up to Open. What happens is, and some people have gotten caught by this, let's say you sign up for Open. So you assume you're getting your last Novice leg, you sign up for Open and you don't get it. That means if you would have signed up for Novice, you would have had another chance to do Novice, but you signed up for Open. And so then we're trying to downgrade you when we're getting ready to run that second Novice trial. And that's really not, we don't like to do that. Okay. So the etiquette is you kind of keep signing up for the level you're in. Once you have that title, then you go to the secretary and she's going to move you up. Okay. The other thing with Barn Hunt, if you've never run Barn Hunt before, is we run trials back to back. Barn Hunt has a lot of course changes and they're big. They take time. So it is more efficient for us to run Novice Trial 1 than Novice Trial 2, Open Trial 1, Open Trial 2, okay? So when you come for the day, you're coming for that block of time, and then you will go. Most people go. We would love for you to stay and volunteer. Of course, volunteering really helps. It takes a lot of people to run a barn hunt trial, all right? So volunteers are really necessary for us to keep this going. So the other thing you can do is you can run what's called Crazy Eights. Again, a little bit, this is opinion. When you're starting out, you may not want to do Crazy Eights when you're starting out because your dog may not be ready. That's 8 rats on the course. So, but as you get up and you're getting into some of these other levels, you can sign up for Crazy Eights and your class. Crazy Eights is, again, an optional class, okay? So, I just wanted to kind of talk about what, if you need to sign up for A or B and how you kind of sign up Novice or Open. So I think I answered some of those questions. All right, so let's talk about Novice. Novice, there will be an instinct in the cradle. I'm sorry, I didn't. In the cradle and instinct, you're going to have an empty tube, a litter tube, and a rat tube. And your dog has to then discriminate that that's the rat. In Novice, you still have those 3 tubes, but now they're on a course with a bunch of bales of straw, all right? And we're hiding them now. So now they're not going to be out in the open for the dog to see in a particular spot. Now they're hidden. And so your dog now has to find on the course the rat tube. So you have 3 things you have to do in Novice. You have to find the rat, you have to tunnel, and your dog has to climb. And that means your dog has to get all 4 legs on a bale, okay? Not front legs and then back legs with the front legs on the floor. All 4 feet need to be on the bale for it to be considered a climb, okay? I'm just looking to see if I said everything. And you need 3 qualifying scores to title in novice, and that will give you a rat in, okay? And then again, you can either move on to a B class if you want to stay in novice. And what's nice is they have some upper levels, so you can keep going in novice and get a title there, an excellent title, or you can go on to open, okay? Okay. Like I said, you can enter instinct and novice A in the same trial, okay? All right, let's talk about blinds. Because again, this isn't something we do in practice because we're usually a little more casual. But normally, you would be running in a blind, all right? So handlers must stage in an area with either between 4 to 6 teams, okay? Every effort should be made to keep your dogs calm and quiet. And you can bring food, toys, and mats into the blind, okay? Again, as long as you're not being disruptive with the items, we don't want you tugging excessively, swinging the dogs around, creating a lot of chaos, or playing with dogs, all right? So you can have food, non-squeaking toys, and mats in your blind. You need to take them out of the blind with you, all right? So when you leave, all your things have to go with you out of the blind, and then most trials have a place for you to put your things before you go into the ring, okay? With barn hunt, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so no tugging wildly, no swinging the dog around, no playing with the other dogs in the blind, okay? All right, handlers in the blind may freely talk to each other, all right? You cannot talk to people outside of the blind, all right? Your friend can't come up to the blind. Your partner can't come up to the blind. You cannot talk to anybody outside of your blind, all right? Except for the blind steward, the secretary, the judge, the chairperson, okay? And only if we're talking about really trial-related issues. So now let's talk about devices, okay? And this has been a change in the last couple years. Any communication or smart device can be brought into the blind, but it must be in your pocket, put away, and on mute, all right? Or turned off. You cannot be interacting with your device in the blind, all right? So you can have it with you, but you cannot have it out. You cannot be on it, all right? It must be put away. Some people, again, will have a place for you can dump all those devices and things onto a table before you enter the ring, all right? You can't be on your phone. They can't be dinging. It's the same in the ring. You don't want your phone to go off. You don't want your watch to go off. None of that, okay? There are medical reasons that they decided to let people keep those things on them because some medical devices now are connected to that, connected to our smart devices. But you don't want them going off in the ring, okay? The reason why all of these rules are in place is so that people outside of the ring are not telling you where the rats are. Because this barn hunt is a spectator sport, all right? We encourage people to watch. We encourage people to volunteer. That's why there's blinds, so that we can separate people that are running for that small period of time so that we can have spectators, all right? So that's why these rules are in place. Okay, let's talk about some ring rules, all right? So dogs must run naked in the ring, all right? So that means everything's got to come off of your dog. All right. They can't have a collar. They can't have a harness. None of that. All right. Once you're in, no coats. Once they're in the ring, all that stuff has to come off. All right. You cannot scruff your dog. All right. So we kind of call it pancake hands. You need to have flat hands the entire time you're handling your dog once you're in the ring. All right. Whether you're taking off the collar, whether you're restraining them, anything you do with your dog cannot look like that you're scruffing them. All right. So keep your flat hands. You know, I wrap my arm around my dog's chest when I'm taking her collar off, that sort of thing. Okay. Dogs may be carried into the ring if they are able and comfortable to be carried into the ring. The dog must remain on leash until the gate is secure. All right. It is not the judge's job on that rule. That is your job. Okay. Because the judge may say go when ready, but it's your job to make sure that the gate is locked before you let your dog go. Okay. And I do believe they're kind of getting more becoming more sticklers about that. Okay. So remember, the dog must remain on leash until the gate is secure. All right. Okay. The collar and leash can be placed on the fence, in a basket, hook or similar, handed to a wrangler, a gate steward, or leash steward. Or you may place it on the ground, except for one exception. Okay? So you've got baskets, you've got fences, you can put it on the ground. There's lots of places you can put your leash, okay, once you take it off. There are still rules around it, but in general, that's where your leash can go, all right? And your collar. Covered prongs, because you are allowed to use a covered prong in barn hunt, cannot go on the ground. Okay? So your covered prong cannot be left on the ground. If the handler places a covered prong, collar or leash on a fence and it falls into the ring, you can get an NQ for that. So the covered prong can never be on the ground at any time. All right. Collars and leashes cannot be tossed or thrown. So like if you kind of forget and you throw it, they're still probably going to call you on it. All right. It can be put into your pocket. So you can fold it up and put it all the way into your pocket so that it's not visible. And if you can control that situation, then go at it. But if it starts dangling out or if it falls out of your pocket, you're going to get an NQ. So to me, that's kind of the least favorite place to put it, but rules say you can do that. All right. Okay. Let me look here. And just remember to never hand your leash to a judge, all right? They will never take it from you. Do not hand your leash to a judge. Okay, if the handler places and drops your leash on the ground, all right, it stays there for the duration of your run. You can't correct that, all right? If that's not where you wanted it, that ship has sailed, all right? If your dog returns to play with it, all of the rules apply. You can't touch your dog. You can't touch the leash, and they may call out a control on that or lack of control. So again, once it's on the ground, that's where it is. You kind of have to play the game, just move forward. And a lot of people do it that way, and it's totally fine. These are the things you need to decide what your strategy is going to be, okay? All right. You must wait for the judge to say go and ready. All right. So you've got to make sure the gate is secure, and then you have to wait for the judge to tell you go and ready. All right. You can't just go when you think everybody thinks you're ready. All right. The judge must say that. If you leave the box before the judge verbally releases you, it is a false start. All right. Okay. All dogs must be released from inside the start box. At least 2 of the dog's feet must be on the floor prior to release. Also, when you're handling the dog, when you're working with tubes, 2 feet on the floor. There always has to be at least 2 feet on the floor, okay? No food in the ring, all right? So you're going to leave the blind. Most venues are going to have a place for you to put your food outside of the ring, but near the ring. You're going to put your food in there, and then you're going to enter the ring, okay? No food in your pockets, no food in the ring. No timers in the ring. So this is not like scent work where you can time, especially as you get up into masters where you wish you could time. You cannot time. No timers. Handlers cannot touch, pat, lean on, pick up, sit on, step over any bales, boards, steps, bridges, tubes, board bumpers, distance challenge mats, any course materials, any equipment, until you have called rat, okay? So if you accidentally brush the straw, or something like that, most judges are I would imagine, going to be lenient towards that, but you just have to remember that we do not step over bales to get to places, all right? Once you call rat, then you can start doing those things. All right, allowed praise. You can talk to your dog in barn hunt, all right? That's totally fine. After the dog finds the correct rat tube, I just lost my place, sorry. The handler may physically and or verbally praise the dog. So once you call rat, you can touch your dog, all right? You call rat, and that's when, these other rules start opening up that you're allowed to do, okay? So you can touch your dog. Of course, you can praise your dog, all right? And that's when you can step over bales to get to your dog once you call rat. Okay, now, physical praise may happen before, during, or after the rat removal / handoff, okay? So like I said, praise can happen anytime. It's just touching can only happen once you call rat. And it can be combined with your restraint. Once a handler completely removes their hands from the dog, then, and after your praise or restraint, so you've removed your hands, you cannot touch your dog again, all right? So once you've restrained your dog and you've let go of your dog, you cannot retouch them. So you have to make sure that that's kind of a one touch, all right? Once you've done it, you just got to keep doing it. And then once you've let go, if you did it too soon, you got to do some other things, but you can't touch them again until you say rat, all right? Okay. All right, so again, remember, you can't touch your dog again until you call rat again, all right? All right, so now let's talk about ways to remove a rat tube, all right? You have 3 ways to remove a rat tube, and you need to decide this. This is all handler decision. You can redirect, you can remove, or you can restrain, all right? So you can redirect your dog off the tube to keep going, and then you can hand the tube off, right? So you're just redirecting your dog away, or you're removing the tube. So you can remove the tube yourself, give it to the handler, or you're going to restrain the dog and let the rat wrangler remove the tube, okay? So if you're going to do that, And usually people that have to use the restrain method usually have a pretty excited dog about the sport. You need to make sure to keep the dog's mouth 2 feet from the tube, okay? Because the rat wrangler is not going to go in if they're not comfortable. So it's your job to make sure that your dog is far enough away, at least 2 feet, for the rat wrangler to come in and get your tube in a timely manner, all right? Some people will turn their head away, turn the dog's head away as part of their restraint, and that's fine too, okay? So remember, you can redirect. You can remove the tube, or you're going to just restrain your dog and let the rat wrangler take the tube, okay? And I would be practicing these things as part of your lessons, practice, that sort of thing, okay? Practice how you're going to do that. Okay. Remember, as soon as you call rat, you can step over, step on bales to get up. You know, once those tunnels are built, sometimes you got to get on that tunnel to get that rat tube. If there's a distance challenge in Masters, you can then step over the line, all of those things, okay? You can do that even before the judge confirms the call if you're willing to take the risk that it's a no. So if you have a dog that you're like, I need to go in there and get that rat, because it's your job as a competitor to make sure those tubes do not hit the ground. It's your job to keep those rats safe as well. You may have to just take that. You may just have to, if that's a no, it's a no and you're done, okay? So again, those are decisions you have to make depending on the dog and the circumstance. Okay. Always keep the tubes horizontal. You never tip them up. They're always horizontal when you're handling them. You can be assessed a penalty if a tube hits the ground, okay? Again, these are judges' calls at the time of the ring. I'm just kind of telling you what the rules say, all right? All right, I think that's all my rules. All right, I am going to see if I can see comments. If you have questions or anything you want clarified, go ahead and put them in the comments. Let me see if I can get on this here. And then hopefully Shaylin and Chris have been on there as well. Let me see. Okay. And be assessed a penalty if a tube hits the ground, okay? Again, it's a little behind. Okay, let me see here. Why can't I see? I'm not going to be able to do it, guys. Not going to be able to get into the comments. All right. Let me see. Hold on. Where are we here? It's been a long time since I've done a live. Okay. All right. It's not going to let me do it. Poopy pants. All right, guys. I think I'm going to have to call it. All right. So what I'll do is I will go in here and look at the comments of anything that wasn't answered, and I will put a comment in there for you guys to answer your question. I hope to see some of you guys at our trials, our events, anything like that. If you have asked a question and it needs to be answered, come back in here, look at the comments. If there's a lot of comments and there's other things that I need to go after, I can look it up and do something and maybe do another live. But it was great having you all tonight. Again, the response we've had to this area has been tremendous. So we are so glad all of you are joining us. And have a good night, and I will talk to you guys later. All right. Hope to see you soon at some of our events. Have a good one.